দেখতে Taneli jacket? Oh, handu basi. How's waiting?
Hello everyone, Gianluigi Sanok and welcome to my channel. Bomb Productions, which is a production behind the Showmax series Red Ink, has released a statement. This comes after actress Nivana Nogomselegu made damning sexual harassment allegations against fellow actor Bonko Khoza. The thing is, the actress didn't just make damning allegations against Bonko Khoza, she also took a swipe at Bomb Productions. In the email Nivana shared, she said, "I want you to know that Bomb's legacy in my eyes will forever be a legacy of a culture who discard and prey on young black women like me, especially those of us who refuse to take it on the chin, a legacy of coddling, violence and sexual predation." Sure. Bomb Production has since released a statement. Like I said, it is a one-pager. Let's go through it. Statement regarding allegations raised on social media. In response to the allegations and speculation on social media, we believe it is important to outline the position and process followed by the production. Sexual abuse is a serious and deeply painful reality in South Africa, and we stand in solidarity with victims and survivors. We also believe that all allegations must be handled through a fair, careful and lawful process for all parties concerned. Any allegation of abuse or harassment is treated seriously, and the safety and dignity of all cast and crew remain paramount. When Ms. Nivana Nogomselegu raised her concerns, they were immediately taken seriously and an extensive process of consultation and investigation was initiated. The investigation concluded without sufficient evidence to substantiate the allegations. The outcome was communicated to both Ms. Nogomselegu and Mr. Khoza, along with information about further avenues available to them should they wish to pursue the matter. For clarity, the following processes were undertaken by the production. Point number 1, the nature and intensity of the scene was disclosed to all cast members prior to contracting, and comfort and consent were confirmed on multiple occasions throughout rehearsal and filming. Point number 2, the scene was not a sex scene, it was a violent scene within a serial killer storyline in which both actors were fully clothed and no simulated sex was required or requested. As such, a safety officer rather than an intimacy coach was hired to be present during rehearsals and filming. Point number 3, both actors were informed they could stop the scene or call cut at any stage if they felt uncomfortable. Point number 4, there was no indication of anything untoward in any of the rehearsals or during the filming. The scene was emotional and tense, and Ms. Nogomselegu's performance was in keeping with that intensity. Point number 5, following the allegation, the set was immediately shut down and production wrapped for the day. Point number 6, meetings and consultations were arranged the following day to begin investigating the matter. Point number 7, Ms. Nogomselegu requested the producers obtain a formal letter of apology from Mr. Khoza. Mr. Khoza stated that he did not agree with the allegations made by Ms. Nogomselegu and was thus not willing to write any letter. Point number 8, a thorough internal investigation was conducted involving producers, directors, and key personnel present on set. Point number 9, professional emotional support was offered to Ms. Nogomselegu at the production's expense. Point number 10, legal counsel and SWIFT, aka Sisters Working in Film and Television, were consulted. Final point, the investigation concluded without sufficient evidence to substantiate the allegations. We acknowledge the seriousness of the allegations and the impact this matter has had on both parties. We have strived to ensure a process that is careful, fair, and lawful for both parties. Actually, now that Bomb Productions has clarified that it was not a sex scene, I remember very well that the scene was not a rape scene at all, but rather a violent one about a serial killer played by Bonko who lured Nivana's character and then deleted her. Nivana's part was very short. I was surprised when she said they were shooting a rape scene. I thought maybe they shot it, but it never made it to screen. I've noticed that the more Nivana posts files as evidence, the more they kind of end up supporting the production and Bonko's side. For example, Bonko accused her of declining to use a stunt double. There's actually an email where Nivana is complaining that the stunt double was visibly pregnant, basically confirming that she declined to use one. Nivana Nirvana posted many screenshots saying it's the last time she's posting about the Bonko saga just before Bomb Productions released their statement. In one of her files, she said Bomb Productions was very quick in responding to her concerns but later slowed down. Now this supports what Bomb Productions said in their statement, that they took Nirvana's concerns seriously from the beginning. The issue started when Nirvana requested the producers to get a written apology from Bonko, a request Bonko flatly refused. So obviously things started slowing down because Bomb Productions cannot force Bonko to admit to something he says he did not do. Remember, Nirvana keeps saying he initially took accountability, but nowhere in her files is he admitting to anything. In fact, his legal team was refuting those claims from the onset. So while Bomb Productions quickly attended to her concerns, they had to slow down to conduct their own investigation, and they say the outcome simply did not support Nirvana's allegations. In one of the screenshots Nirvana shared, she also showed that therapy was booked for her. The way she's been presenting it makes it seem like the production offering therapy was them taking her side or admitting Bonko's guilt. Meanwhile, it was standard procedure until a thorough investigation was conducted. Like I said, the more she shares what she deems as evidence, the more it supports what the production and Bonko are saying in their statements. Nirvana only went to the police in 2024, meanwhile the incident happened in 2023. This is after her team had demanded a written apology from Bonko for months without success. Before going to the police, her team kept saying that Nirvana did not want punitive measures against Bonko, but rather a public apology acknowledging the incident and for him to join her in a public campaign to stop such incidents. I find this part extremely odd. Why was she so against punitive measures initially and willing to include him in her public campaign? Why would she want an alleged perpetrator involved in her campaign? Anyway, just like Bomb Productions, the police could not find evidence supporting Nirvana's allegations either. She said witnesses refused to come forward, so the matter did not make it to court. This is such a complicated case. I don't even think Blake Lively's case was this complicated. It was just petty. Someone made an example about personal space, saying that when queuing at the shops, for instance, a person can stand so close that you feel your personal space is being invaded, yet the next person might not feel invaded at all. If you take that to the police, the invasion would need to be so obvious that it's not just subjective but unlawful. So maybe Nirvana genuinely felt violated, but it was very subjective and did not fall within the threshold of sexual harassment and may have fallen within the threshold of performance making a scene believable. I mean, there's no way 12 witnesses, the investigation from Bomb Productions, and the police could all be in sync that there was no evidence if a clear violation had happened. It's not that what Nirvana is accusing Bonko of doing is impossible, it's just that there's more than one organization saying the evidence does not support Nirvana's allegations. One could say Bomb Productions is biased, they like Bonko as a performer, blah blah blah. But what about South African Police Service? That organization really doesn't struggle opening cases only for it to be thrown out of court due to lack of evidence. So the fact that Nirvana's case did not even make it to court says a lot. Another thing is that the industry has come very far from the time Tati Moshesh and Moshidi Motshekga were coming up. Big productions like Bomb Productions now include intimacy coordinators, stunt doubles, Swift, and other support structures on set. I mean, Bomb Productions and Bonko said Swift was consulted. Swift is a prominent South African NPO dedicated to empowering women and non-binary individuals in the media, film, and television industry. So are we going to say even they are biased against Nirvana? They couldn't protect her? Anyway, do let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.
Moshidi, it begs the question: how did we even survive with the culture of being hit on sets, and before we had movements like Swift, which you know, Swift has made us feel very safe on our sets. And the fact that we have intimacy coordinators on sets. How did we
survive? It's a very good question.
How did we survive? I'll tell you how I survived. I remember a Sis Togon Jinga on the set of Egoli standing up for me and saying, you will not treat her that way. So it's also having older actors on sets who don't allow the rubbish to continue. So she stood up for me.
I didn't have protection, I must be honest. I think I won't mention his name, but I've worked with an actor who was lascivious.
Oh, I do remember this. Yes. I do remember. And Moshidi, you were not the only one.
And the thing is that I realized
he was a serial.
Yes, and I realized that young women almost play into that because he was older,
established,
yeah, you know, and I actually had to go to the producers and say, I will not kiss him, I will not touch him, you will not write those scenes for me, you know. And that's the other thing that was hard in the past, is that they wrote scenes like this for people knowing.
Yes.
And
Mshidi, it's not that they don't know. They know.
They know.
A pest is a pest is a pest.
Listen,
and your
it's well
reputation precedes you.
So I remember a producer said to me, if you don't push, we will keep writing. So
if you don't push?
Yes. Meaning if I'm not the one saying no.
No. They will keep on writing.
Yes.
So it was deliberate on their part.
So I fought, and it was a very
uncomfortable,
very hurtful, very painful. And then I acted with another one, and I'll never forget this guy. They had written a scene again where he kissed my neck, like in the middle of the scene.
And it was not written, and you had not rehearsed it.
No,
that's another thing. People don't rehearse kisses. Guys.
And guys, you know, we grew up in a time where people would say, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Men used to say that. Male actors used to say that.
Yeah.
And we went on set and we did the scene. And then in the middle of the scene, he leaned in to kiss my neck. And I went,
you slapped him. Thank you.
I said, don't you ever, ever, ever think this body is available for you. There will be no kissing of Moshidi Motshekga.
Yeah.
There will just be acting happening here.
Mshidi, I've said no to lots of kisses.
Yeah.
When the one actor was very unhygienic, extremely unhygienic.
We know the unhygienic ones.
And everybody and everybody
knew this.
Can we
talk about the alcoholics,
yes,
guys?
Somebody rocking up on a Monday and they're reeking of alcohol.
Yes.
And he's supposed to be your partner,
yes,
whom you are very in love with. No, I went straight to the producers and I said, I'm not going to kiss him. Did it compromise the story? Yes, it did compromise the story because we're supposed to be engaged. We're supposed to be in love. I'm supposed to be all over him, but I couldn't. This is now where the private life then,
yes,
the private life and the public life or the work life.
Do you find that sometimes there isn't even a build-up to? There is no necessity for that.
There wasn't. It was a way of writing me out of a story. So they everything was done very hastily.
To be